So this evening we're just in the garden. Yesterday it got tilled because it had some weeds in it, and tonight we're going to get rain. It's been really hot and humid, so it needs water. So it's going to rain though. Look around the clouds. You can tell it's going to rain. So right now we're going to pick some of these onions because they are definitely in need of picking. And we'll cut them up this week. So look how nice those onions are. So this is about the time of year though that the onions need to come out of the ground. So they are definitely done. Otherwise they're just kind of going to rot away. But these are really nice size onions. And like I said, we'll cut them up. Oh, look at that one. That was a double one. And everything. And yesterday, I mean, there's still a few more weeds in here, but not too bad. Most of the main weeds got tilled up yesterday. And some of the onions are a little bit smaller, but that's okay. We'll cut them all up. But doing that, if you looked at some of my other videos, how to get really nice bulb onions, you'll see how you do that. There's a couple steps to it. And we had one round of onions that we picked and cut up already, but this was just what was left over, so we wanted it to get to kind of be bigger onions. So I don't think there's any more of that one. No. Well, I guess this row too. So actually they're kind of scattered all over here. We planted our broccoli and cabbage in between the rows of onions, so now they're kind of just like everywhere. So yeah, let's see here. Yeah, there's some more. That is a broccoli. But it's really humid out here today. And yesterday. But after tonight and after it rains, we're going to get really nice weather. So tomorrow we're going to enter our honey into the fair, the county fair. And then Wednesday the fair starts. So it's going to be really nice weather. So we're really blessed for that. Whoops, that one broke off. That's okay. We'll just leave it in the ground. It must... See, look, yeah, that one's rotted. See? Bad onion, it's soft. So that's why we're picking them. That one probably was rotted too, that's why the stem came off. Yeah, that one's bad too. So actually, we're just going to skip through these over to these ones. And that's why, like, those rotted ones, if you saw them, none of them they were all under the ground. So that water just sat in that wet soil and just rotted it away. So that's why, if you saw my other videos, you're trying to get the dirt away from them, and then that's what you get. So these, some reason, they didn't get the dirt off of them, or they just got dirt back on them. So, and that one too. So see, even though, yeah, these are definitely well past ready to pick. Rotted onions are really pretty gross, actually. They have a really bad smell to them. Sometimes, though, it's just the outer layers that are rotted, and you can peel that away. Sometimes, though, it is the whole, like that, you know. If they don't pull out of the ground, it means that they're rotted. Oh, there's some more over here, too. Alright, so let me finish this onions and then I'll be right back with you and then on the part of the garden. So we found some more onions over here. And a quick tip, that one's rotted too. So some of the ones that you're seeing I'm not pulling out of the ground because they're rotted. So if you leave, we're going to leave them in the ground, of course. And if you leave them in the ground, then more than likely they will come back next year. Onions overwinter well in the ground. And then we have some up in the orchard that we planted last fall, and then they went through, and then so we're gonna leave them, and then so then the seeds will make them come back too. But some of these that we're not pulling, next year there'll be onions here next year. There'll be early onions, which will be really good. So yeah. But then also yesterday when we were weeding, and my husband was out here doing that, he came in and he said that he had a thought about weeds and about a Christian's life. And we had a discussion about it, and it was a really good discussion, and I really liked it, and it got me thinking about it as well. And so this was what our discussion was about. So he came in and he thought that gardening, who is the master gardener? That would be God, right? God is our master gardener. And now these are just analogies, so this is, don't take it word for word and take it out of context or anything like that, but because that has happened sometimes. But so in analogy, so if he's the master gardener, and when people, right, we are like the seeds, right, in his garden. We are his creation, right? So what happens, though, weeds are like sin, right? They're bad. Nobody likes weeds. We have to pull them. They take over. They can take over the garden. They can take over the plants. They can kill the plants. They rob the plants of nutrients, water, all that type of stuff, right? So that's why sin can be compared to weeds. So now, and so what he thought was that as that one is rotted. I guess we'll come over here. Hold on, it's kind of, I'm not really good at talking about that and doing this at the same time. I'm trying to get better at that. So he's like, if the weeds, and then, so the small plant, when the plant, like beans, he was talking about, if the beans are little, and then, the weeds are all around them, which would be like sin, we're born into the world of sin, right? We don't have a choice about that. It just happens that way. This is a fallen world. So then what happens is that then we, as the gardener, weeds the weeds out, right? Pull the weeds out, till it up, things like that, right? And then we help. So then the weeds go away. So that's the sin going away, right? Now, then though, if the plant doesn't do well, you know what? I'm not gonna actually say that. I'm gonna stop because I was a little confused that way, the way he explained it to me. I'm gonna tell you what I got out of that, okay? Because I'm getting confused. So I'm gonna tell you what I got out of it, the discussion that I had with him. So then later on, after my discussion with him about this, I was thinking about it, and God put it in my heart. This is the way He wanted me to understand it. So this is how I understood it, and this is what I got out of it. So this is what I said, was that as a Christian or as a person, we're born into a fallen world. So there's sin all around us. So then what happens is that as we have our relationship with God, and as our relationship grows more mature in our Christian life to be closer to God, and He is our master gardener, then the sin is going to start going away from us, right? We are purposely, intentionally running away from sin. That is what a mature Christian, or that is what a Christian does. One of the things that they do in their walk with God is you do not want to, of course, be close to that sin, right? You don't want to do the sin anymore. So then you will mature in your Christian life, in your Christian walk with God. So back to the plants. So you have the baby plant. The weeds are all around it, which is sin. So we take out the weeds, right? As a young Christian or a Christian is maturing, reading their Bible, praying, talking with God, being obedient, being obedient and trusting in God. That's like your number two things trust and obey God, right? So as a Christian is doing that, as the plant is allowing us to get the weeds out and everything, as we get the weeds out, then we grow as much as the plant grows. And then once they get big, the weeds, there's no weeds around there, because now that sin is, you're farther away from it as you are a mature Christian. But there are some plants that will die as you weed them for a number of different reasons, right? And those would be considered the people who are not receptive to God, right? So people who rebel against Him, if you do not be trustworthy and obeying Him, you're rebelling against God, right? And so that, unfortunately, just like the plant, I don't really know how to say this, besides that, you know, that person will die in that sin. So the analogy is very strong, right? It's very big comparison to gardening. Your Christian life is very, you know, close to gardening, the analogy. And then also another analogy between Christian lives and gardening is the roots of a weed, as much as like sin, right? So here's a weed, right? Here's a weed that we pulled out, right? Now our weeds are mostly crabgrass and water hemp. That's what we mostly are pulling out of our gardens. So what happens though, like, you know, you could till up this, as you can see it was tilled up, right? You can hand pull them, you can use a hoe, you can use a rake, anything, right? But if you leave just a smidgen of a weed, of the root, just a smidgen, so like say you pulled this, right? And say it broke off like that. And the root, because weed roots are very big roots. They're very well rooted in the ground. So sometimes it's hard to pull out the whole root. So say if you broke that off and you pulled it and you don't see this part, right? It's under the ground. And so you say, oh good, I got the weed. It's good. You know, I'm good now. That would be misconception. The next day, literally the next day, this would be coming out of the ground. It would be already out of the ground again. And you'd be like, what? I picked that weed yesterday. I pulled that weed yesterday. But the root is your source, right? This is the source. Just like sin. Sin, if you let one little bit still in you, right? Or you allow it to be around, you know, that you're participating in it or it's in your heart. If there's one little bit left, it will flourish into more and more and more and more sin, because you're not letting God, the master gardener, you're not giving it to Him, right? You're not giving it to Him wholly, which you need to give it to Him wholly. And then He will get rid of it. As far as from the east is from the west, your sins will be gone if you give them to Him. But you have to give Him the whole root. You have to give it all to Him. Not just a part of it. You have to give Him the whole thing. And He'll get rid of it and you'll never have to worry about it again. That's how wonderful our God and Jesus is. So just remember that. That is all the truth. That is the truth. Absolutely the truth. And the only reason that I like to talk about it is because I believe it. I believe every ounce of it with every part of me, mind, soul, body, spirit. And we are called as Christians to tell others about it. So then they can have the benefits of God's love. And He loves everybody. He loves everybody. He died for everybody. So just remember that. Just remember when you are feeling alone or sad or scared that you aren't alone. You never will be alone. Because God's there waiting for you. He's knocking on your heart's door for you to answer and let Him in. And see the wonderful things He can do in your life. Just like the great stuff that grows in the garden, right? Because I mean, look, this garden now is just full of stuff to start harvesting, right? Good things to harvest. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Now I'm going to be done with these onions, so there's a lot of them and it's getting hot out here. So humid. So talk to you later, and thanks for watching, and please remember, God loves you. Bye.